Hey guys, my name's Crystal Kenny, and I'm in love with creating. All things artistic and imagination involved. I'm an American girl who chased her creative dreams all the way to Paris, France, making a living using photography. This podcast takes you inside the stories of all the artsy folks I've met along the way and gives you that extra push to discover your creative gifts. The desire to create is deeply inside each and every one of us, and I give you the tools and inspiration to find a new way of living a more creative life. This is La Vie Creative, the podcast. Today on the show, I interview Martina Hoffmann. Martina is a visionary painter. Her work is inspired by her dreams, visions, and we talk about spirituality, creativity, and how she splits her time between France and America and what that means for her work. So welcome to the show, Martina. How are you today?
I'm really well. It's nice to meet you via voice today.
I'm so happy to speak with you. I had already interviewed your friend Liba. You guys just completed a wonderful tarot card deck together. I've been working on it for 7 years, and she told me I needed to interview you and learn more about your work as well. So thank you so much for making time today.
Yeah, my pleasure. Absolutely.
So I kind of want to go back to the beginning. I do this with all my guests and talk a little bit about where you're from and what brought you to France. So let's start there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I came to this part of France in 2015 through my new partner, the French painter Pascal Ferry, who's been living here for quite a while. And I still maintain my studio in the US. I've lived there. I've lived between the continents all my life, basically. And I lived in Colorado, in Boulder, with my late husband, Robert Venosa, the visionary master painter, who is, kind of a big name in the visionary art community. And so Robert passed away in 2011. And after that, I spent a lot more time here in Europe and spent time with my mom in Germany. And I cared for her until she passed away in 2015. And at that point, I had already met Pascal, very beautiful, synchronistic meeting. What are the chances to meet another visionary painter who is also spiritually oriented, and we had a lot in common. So after Mom left, I found a refuge here in Brittany and kind of licked my wounds for several years, because it was a big 10 years where I lost my dad and my husband and my mom over the course of just a few years. And Brittany has been a really beautiful place for me to face myself, face my sadness and heal, and also paint. So in Brittany, with this beautiful natural environment, I was able to also develop a totally different style of painting. I can honestly say that I changed a lot in terms of color range and style since I've been working here on and off. So
yeah, what a beautiful place to say, like you said, lick your wounds and recoup after so much loss. To be surrounded by so much beauty and peace, I'm sure inspired your work a lot.
Yes, it has. It has. Yeah, you can actually see in my art how the greens and the blues of Brittany, the ocean and the glass, the French, the Britons call it glass, which is all the shades of green blue that you find in the ever-changing colors of the ocean. And that's that's definitely that tone. Those tones have definitely seeped into my work ever since I've lived here.
Yeah, it's beautiful. I was really admiring your work in preparation for this interview, and it's just really a dream world. It's like visionary, and people really, you need to go check out her work online. It's nothing like I've ever seen before, and
And talk a little bit about going back to the your origins. Like, did you always paint, or how did you connect with this dream state? Like, how did you get into visionary painting like you have?
Well, I think I've been a painter. I've been an artist all my life. That's probably a pretty standard answer by most artists because I believe that we are born artists, and you can always develop your creativity throughout life, but some of us just have um, certain connections at an early age, and I've always drawn all my life. And when I met my late husband Robert, who was at that time already a very accomplished painter, I I just got so inspired by his art that I said I asked him to let me look over his shoulder, which I did. And I'm sort of self-taught as a painter. I studied sculpting at the university in Frankfurt, in Germany. And but when I met him, I fell in love with this type of art, and I had known it before through the art of Ernst Fuchs. And then when I met Robert, turned out that he had also studied with him. So small world, you know how synchronicity works, and I began my career as a painter by his side and developed it. And he was a great critic to me throughout the years. And we lived together in Cadaqués in Spain, and the town of Salvador Dali. For anybody who does not know where that is, it's on the northern Mediterranean coast above Barcelona. And Robert knew Dali, and so he actually came. He discovered this fishing village, beautiful place on the Mediterranean, and never left. So that's how I ended up in Spain, and so with him, since he was a New Yorker, we would go back and forth, and we spent our lives together, traveling between Spain mostly and Germany, I mean Europe and the US.
That sounds like the best of all worlds.
Yeah, it was definitely a beautiful setup, and I still have that need to go back and forth because I think both continents have so much to offer, and America is such an interesting dynamic place, and Europe has that grounded, deeply cultural background. So I think living in both places gives me everything I need. So I always feel like I would like to bring a little bit of America here sometimes, and then bring a little bit of Europe over to the States. And
Yeah,
I bet that in a way I am that bridge between those worlds, because wherever I go, I take my experiences and I paint them, and it's for me also that vibration kind of hits, wherever I go.
definitely. I couldn't agree more. As an American living in Europe, I'm like, I want to bring both things. Obviously, there's pros and cons to every place, and you have to kind of take what you want with it. But you specialize in painting portals into other worlds, as you kind of touched on just now. Talk a little bit more about that. What is your process? How do you connect to find what you're going to paint?
Well, so you had asked me earlier too, how did I discover the visionary connection, and that is also something that I connected with, let's say, states of expanded awareness quite early in life. In my childhood, most children have this, are close to the fantasy world, and they're natural dreamers, and they see things everywhere they go. And because they're so wide open, and they haven't forgotten that part of our existence that is magical. And I think I just never forgot. So throughout my life, I've been a lucid dreamer. I've had experiences in nature early on in my childhood that gave me a sense of a very particular energy being present that I couldn't describe as a child, but I sensed it. And then as I grew up and discovered methods of expanding my consciousness and meditation, and even shamanic practices, I I've saw even more visions, and as an adult, as a creative adult and painter, I then had this desire to show my world, and that's where the inner landscapes and other worlds come in, and I just let them flow onto the canvas. There's nothing I plan about my work. I basically sit down at a blank easel and just begin. So there's no real pre-planning. I don't pre-sketch my work really. I just sit down and throw out colors and then develop them into forms. And it's sort of a process of, it's almost like oracle work. I mean, basically, I open myself up as a channel and let the energy and the messages just flow through me. And I'm just a tool, really. And I just sit and offer my hands and the technique I've developed for these images to come in.
That's really beautiful. And I think that, if you've read books like Big Magic or The Creative Life, things like that, they talk a little bit about that we're just like a vessel for these energies to come through. And it sounds like even more through your paintings, and talk a little bit about, like, do you think these things you're painting exist in some other realm, or is it purely imaginative? Is it a oneness of consciousness? Like, who do you think these people are, these things that you're painting are, where they are?
Well, I think that whatever we create does exist already in a way. It has to exist because it just manifests. So if not, it wouldn't be manifesting. And I get a sense of these realities being metaphors and to other spaces, to other worlds, to other life forms, maybe. And I do like to call my paintings portals because they allow the visitor to maybe penetrate or go through a gateway that they wouldn't necessarily choose to go through otherwise. And so I offer maybe the opportunity for the people who see my work to travel into these into these otherworldly situations and worlds. Yeah.
And have you ever experienced connecting to anything bad when you're in this open state? I mean, obviously, a lot of it is beautiful and environmental, but has there ever been like, oh, wait, this is like something bad that I'm channeling?
No, I don't actually, not in that sense. Of course, when we open ourselves up uh, to really feel and experience the universe is made of light and shadow. It's just the way it rolls. And but we should never fear the shadow. It's just the contrast to the light, and going deep into a meditative state, for example, which my process of painting is that I deeply meditate when I paint. It's a state of big detachment. I really go in and I kind of lose my everyday awareness, and I go into a more expanded state of awareness. And when I bring these images through, and just going into that is definitely allows us to feel whatever is present. And of course, I let things come onto the canvas, but there's also, since I live in this body and I'm the painter, there's a portion of me that might just pop up, and I might remember something, or I might feel something, and I think it's just really a great, creativity in general is a great way to connect with the beauty and the magic of things, but also with our shadow side, because it does exist within us, with each and every one of us. But we should never be afraid to look at that, because once we can look at it and even name our shadow, then it magically loses its fangs, it loses its bite and its grip on us, I believe.
You can't be as scared when you understand something. And like you said, we can't have like the light without the dark. There is both, and we need both. They work together. And
Mhm.
goes with creating with everything in life. And you mentioned in your writing that you have a passion to create awareness around global oneness and universal interconnectedness. So talk a little bit about that, like your beliefs around that.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I do believe that we are all aspects of the source, and that we are individual expressions. We are reflecting this the greater one, and in the end, we're all elements of that one entity that we all make. I mean, we have, everything is always within the universe. Everything is always as above, so below, and so we're all like tiny particles that form a whole in the end. Gaia is like, just looking at our planet, that's a good example for that, where we have this whole system, this whole ecosystem that we live in, and we're all parts of a whole, and we all form in a way one entity. And I always felt, since I've lived in many different cultures, and I grew up in Africa, and lived in different places, and learned early on how we are, all of us, not just not just different cultures and different countries, but also individually, we're all so amazingly unique and different. And I feel that if we can, as a global community, really love and appreciate and accept our uniqueness, then the world will be such a good place, because we won't fear the other as something invasive, but as an asset, where our uniqueness becomes a gift and as we work together and we all bring our gift to the table, our our combined um, uh, our combined energy will create a bigger whole than we could ever be on ourselves. I mean, we have a great function in the overall unity of everything, and acceptance and love, and that feeling of being interconnected, interrelated, interdependent is so important, because I think with this we can also learn how to live in more harmony and peace, and with more respect to our environment, and we need to come together, I think, as a global community, and really understand that these are very, very difficult and challenging times, but there's also a great opportunity in this to come forward and to turn everything around and make our future much better than our existence has ever been on this planet, because we have that incredible awareness thanks to the internet, thanks to technology. I think it's probably one of the first times in recorded history, because who knows what happened before the Diluvian times, um, in recorded history or in known history. I think this might be the first times where we have the awareness of things changing on the planet all the time, because things are always changing. There's nothing unnatural about the planet going through changes, climate changes. It has all happened before. But now we have awareness about it, and this is where we should just step in and come in, and I'm hoping that we all can kind of do this by holding hands and bringing our individual gifts to the table and find solutions together.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. It kind of goes back to that light and dark side of things with technology. That was kind of my next question of how do you feel about technology and how it's influencing creativity and oneness today? Like obviously we're more connected, and like having a podcast with you right now, I've found you,
Yeah.
talk on the internet and talk about these things and share it with other people on the internet. So there is that good side, but also like we were talking about earlier, there can be some bad sides. So maybe touch on that a little bit about, technology, how it's affecting creativity too.
Yeah. Well, I definitely think that technology can be a wonderful thing, and as long as we keep a good eye on the ethics of how technology is being used, and there needs to be a respect well, one thing that always throws a wild card into any system is the need for financial gain, and that's where systems, I believe, go out of whack and go out of balance. So yeah, it becomes more complicated when power and greed are part of the equation. So, overall, I think developing new technologies are very, very good, is very good, and it can be very useful, can facilitate things in our lives, but we also have to be a lot more cautious, I think. And right now, I feel that maybe caution is kind of being smiled upon almost, and there's a little bit of an arrogance that I've seen creeping up here and there, and I think that could be. I see some red flags going up for me around those issues.
Yeah, because it's such a new world. I know we briefly talked about this before we started recording with AI and things like that. And like what you said, coming in with about power and money and greed, that's when things kind of get a little twisted because it kind of takes away from the core of maybe what we want to be doing. It can confuse us a little bit. Um, and talk a little bit about advice for artists who want to connect spiritually. Like a big part of your work is meditation, spirituality, and maybe everyone doesn't know how to connect with that for their work. So, do you have any advice for that?
Mm. Well, I think that finding your path is is very it's such an individual process, and everybody will have a different need to fulfill, and different likings, and everybody is I'm always amazed at um, how people have likings such as religion, or they might follow a guru, or they might feel that their system is now the best system for them, and we all have different ways of connecting. And so just, I think, in general, keeping an open mind about how you find your spiritual connection, how you find your connection to creativity is the best way to go. And I think that one of the big keys in being successful with that is also to once we have a way that fits our needs, that we still keep an open mind, and that's where. Yeah, I feel like sometimes there might be a little danger in that when we find our ways, and now we have found it, and we think that that is the only way that will get us to the finish line. And to me, it's not the way. We all have different needs and different ways. And just in thinking about that in general, to me, since we talked a little bit about AI, uh, generating images is not the goal for me, is not to quickly generate as many images and as effortlessly as possible, because for me the very process of creating a painting is actually the goal for me. It's the process, it's the path to get there, it's the muscle flexing, it's the interaction, and the mild battle, or the mild dance, the dance that I have with the piece, whatever comes up for me when I create a painting. That's really important to me. It's not about quantity or doing it effortlessly. It's about being there and doing it. that's what makes me happy. It's the creative process that is really what interests me in making art, not what comes out in the end.
Yeah, it's the journey like that you're
Yeah.
enjoying, and that's like
Yeah.
the end
Of course,
result.
I'm delighted when I see all the art that I've created throughout the years, and I love to show my art, and it fills me with joy to share it. But yeah, but the journey is really what the goal should be to me, because our life's journey is a learning process, and so it's all about that. It's about the richness we encounter on the path through life. That is the precious gift.
Yeah, the end result is maybe what gets us started, but the journey is, the real winning part. It's the part that really brings us the joy.
Yeah, I think so.
And talk about some resources that have helped you along your creative journey, or their books or places you like to go or meditations. Like, what's really helped you develop as a creative?
Well, I mean, basically, as a creative, I'm interested in anything at all. I mean, it could be nature, it could be what I experience with in on a daily basis. It could be a person I meet. I mean, things. I mean, creative inspiration is triggered by just about anything in life. And but I love to go and see, of course, beautiful museums. Whenever I come to Paris or I go to New York, it's always my first thing to go and see the major museums, the major collections. I love ancient civilizations. I love places like the British Museum in London, which is incredible with its Egyptology department. And I mean, the Met is great too. They have an incredible collection there. But it just, yeah, getting inspired, seeing art shows, seeing people perform, going to book readings. And I love to read books. That's another great way to travel. It's just such an incredible inspiration to just travel with my mind's eye and just read by virtue of reading somebody's accounts. And it just makes me tick. I love biographies, by the way. Biographies, I think they're so much better than novels. There's nothing more interesting than real human life, and how people have discovered their way and their way of existence. And so yeah, any of that. I personally also traveled with shamanic plant medicine in my life, which is also a very beautiful way of connecting to spirit in a very powerful, in a very honest and very deep way. If it's done with as a sacred sacrament, and yeah, all of that is. Has been important in my life and very inspirational. And by the way, there's a beautiful exhibition happening right now in Paris at the Musée du Quai Branly. It's a 6 month exhibition that focuses on the art that the Shipibo people have produced, and the usage of a very powerful shamanic plant teacher called ayahuasca. And so the show is about showing the impact that ayahuasca has had on their culture, how it features in their cultural lives, as well as in their shamanic lives, and how it's influenced their creativity. And it shows beautiful shamanic art, paintings, sculptures, and a few Western artists, non-Indigenous artists are also part of this show, and I'm very honored to be part of this exhibition in
Oh,
this incredible
congratulations.
museum. Yeah.
Yeah, I have to go check it out. That sounds amazing. I've heard a lot about like the shamanic journeys and how that's influenced
Mhm.
people. So that will be fascinating to see if you guys, listeners, check it out as well if you're going to be in Paris. And how do you define creativity in your own words?
Creativity. Okay, so creativity is something that is, I think creativity is our human birthright. It's at the foundation of 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 every great culture. There's visionary creativity that propels the manifestation of culture. And I think that being creative is as the closest we can be to the creation. Not to get into any religious terms here, but I think it's the closest we can be to the source. If we believe in, I like to use source for the origin of our existence and the place we go back to. And big subject, of course. And we don't have time to get into the philosophy of all of this. But yeah, I think creativity is something that keeps us healthy and keeps us happy and keeps us connected. This is how it is for me. I mean, through my creativity. My creativity is my outlet, my expression. It's my balance. It's what keeps me sane. It's just what keeps me joyous and yeah, just generally in a state of health and joy. Yeah.
Yeah, it's very healing, you could say. And I think a lot of people feel that way because many of the artists I talk to, we all have the same agreement about when we are creating, we're very in the moment, we're very connected to now.
Yeah. Yeah. There's a calm that comes over me when I create. I mean, the world is in a good place when I sit by my easel and I just paint, and so the energy just flows through me.
I love that. That's a good way to put it. And talk about some of your projects you're excited about. I know you worked on the tarot card project with Liba. It's been a 7-year
Yeah.
project. Tell us some more about your work that's coming out.
Yeah. The 7-year project with Liba, that was a very beautiful adventure, and working together with 7 other women. Liba wrote the book, and 7 women painted the individual cards, and we did that very beautiful show that Liba organized in Paris just now in December, and that was a very beautiful way to conclude the year with this project, with the finishing of this project. And the deck is out now, so you can get it online. So for this year, my focus is on a very, very large exhibition that I'll be having with my partner Pascal in Germany, in a German private museum. And it's going to be somewhat of a retrospective, if you want, because they want 150 paintings. So we've already started to organize the whole project. The show opens in October, and so we are focusing on creating very, very large pieces for this show, and it's the largest exhibition that I've ever had. And I'm very excited about it, and it's a wonderful way to start this new year with this vast, almost overwhelming project on my plate, on our plates here. So
Yeah, that sounds huge. 150 paintings. Wow. That
yeah,
sounds
it's a vast space. It's a very, very big museum, and so it's a great honor to be working towards that.
well, congratulations. And I can't wait to see what you'll do next. And tell us more about where we can connect with you online and learn more and see more of your work.
Sure. For anybody who wants to see my work, please come and visit my website, which is www.martinahoffmann.com. That's all in small letters and all connected. And it's Martina Hoffmann, MartinaHoffmann.com. And that's my website. On there, you have multiple galleries where you can visit my art, and you see my drawings, my sculpture, my paintings. There's also a video section where you can see interviews and podcasts that I've been involved with. There is just a multitude of different tabs, exhibitions, and you can also find one tab that I've just installed last year. It's about Viva, and Viva is a project that is very close to my heart, and it is the creation of a physical space, a gallery museum that will hold the entire collection of the art of my late husband, Robert Venosa, my art, and the art of Pascal Ferry. We have close to 350 paintings that will be in this, that will be available for this exhibition and permanent exhibition, and we're looking to possibly create it here in France. So, and we're looking for supporters, donators, and mécènes, whoever would like to get involved to make this dream that Robert and I began dreaming while he was still on this planet. I would like to see that completed in my lifetime, and it's everything about Viva and the place and what we intend to do is on my website. So so there's quite a lot there. If anybody has the mind to sink their teeth into my creative world, I would love it if you came to pay me a visit there. And do not hesitate to get in touch with me for anything. If you would like to discuss my art, commissions, anything at all, I'm always available.
That's fantastic. I can't wait to see that. And thank you so much for sharing everything today. And we'll put all of that in the show notes as well. So make sure you check out the show notes, guys, so you can just click and connect with Martina. Thank you so much.
It was a real pleasure to speak with you.
Thanks so much for tuning in to La Vie Creative. You can find more information on MissParisPhoto.com. And if you enjoyed this show, please feel free to share and spread the word for all my creative guests. We have the power to help them to keep doing what they love. See you next time.